Record. Well, hey, everybody. My name is Jared Malat. I'm here with my good friend, Mateo Coltist, and this is the Coltist, episode 15 of season 2. Here we are, the 1 week before week 1
Yeah, week 1.
for the Indianapolis Colts. They'll get to start the year at home, hosting a division foe in the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was just on ESPN's website, and they said that Jacksonville's a 5-point road favorite. So the Colts at home, not expected to win their home opener against who won their division last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, against the incumbent division winner.
Yeah, probably division winner again next year. Like if we had to
Yeah,
make, predictions, who's gonna win the FC South again? I would say definitely
Jacksonville.
the Jags. Yeah, they have a
They got
good
the
coach,
most
they have a good
continuity.
quarterback.
Hmm.
They have the most continuity. Yeah, that's right. They are getting Calvin Ridley, in the mix of that passing offense.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I think they're the undisputed favorites, to win the division.
Yeah. And obviously, I'd love to sit here and say like the Colts are scrappy. They've got the talent and capabilities of keeping up with the team that just won the division last year. But that would be lying. Um, I do expect, as much as we've seen, although it'll hopefully be a full game for Anthony Richardson,
Yeah,
um, that you're gonna see flashes and be like, "Oh my God, he's great," but you're gonna lose by like a touchdown. Just the only thing that youth can do to beat a team like this is turn it into a track meet. The Colts had shown a proclivity to go a little up tempo, and Anthony Richardson did score a mess of points when he was in. Even at the NFL level, even it's preseason, you tend to keep doing what you're doing. His last like 6 starts in college, he really started to catch fires. Production went up. And I believe along that strange angle, right, where you could show continued development, and
yeah,
that's enough of a win. If the offense doesn't even have to win, just be better than you were last year, and that's a huge win, right? Um, it's like we were talking about before, a little disappointed with like the depth and the heft, right? Losing Jelani Woods and Pinter, right? Going to IR right before the season starts is rough. It just means that, every one of these players is even more important. If you're here and healthy and upright, you kind of got to play because we don't really have anybody else, that we can push
yeah.
in there and expect to get anything out of. Um, it feels like to me the Colts are going to spread it out. It feels like it's coming. Especially with a mobile quarterback with a big arm. You want to spread the ball around and see what
Yeah.
you've got. Um, especially, I'm trying to think about if I'm missing O-line depth, if I'm putting one of my better tight end prospects on IR too. You're probably going to end up spreading it out. Now it sounds like your receiver is about the only thing healthy. You ain't got no running backs,
Yeah, and
right?
you have a you do have, for what it's worth, you have a solid wide receiver room in my like
Yeah,
you have Michael Pittman, who is a top 15, top 20 receiver perhaps. Then you have Alec Pierce, who should, keep on improving. I'm really excited about Josh Downs and what we're gonna see from him.
yeah,
And then, I really like Isaiah McKenzie from Buffalo. I think he should be a nice addition to the group. Sucks that Ashton Dulin is also a guy that got injured since we
yep.
last recorded, I believe.
Hmm.
I really like the guy, mostly because he was
Play special teams.
yeah, play special teams, good receiver, always seemed to be like, getting in there, run blocking, like not taking plays off. You
Right,
always like, having those guys, as your fifth, sixth receiver perhaps.
right,
But yeah, it sucks he's gonna miss the rest of the year. And yes, you said tight end, not as exciting without Jelani Woods.
right.
That's one of the guys, I'm really hoping to see this year, and him being, starting the season out is, it sucks, but hey, it happens. Injuries happen.
Right.
Hopefully, he can get back. Before perhaps week 8, get back on the field and show what he can do and start developing that chemistry with your rookie quarterback for the future. That's what I'm expecting for him this year.
Right. That's why it's sort of paramount. If you know if Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman and Anthony Richardson are going to accomplish anything together, that rhythm building, that continuity building starts here in week one. And the only real hope y'all have is if that nucleus can stay on the field. If you just have that as a general thought process, offensive linemen I've found now, hey, now that I'm coaching, I get to interject these little nuggets. So it's like I found that offensive linemen are a little more emotional um, than the rest of the groups.
Hmm.
Mostly because it's about playing with confidence, right? But let's say like your running back's out, you know, your offensive linemen now know, well, now I got to protect the quarterback because running back's out. Now, on run downs, they're not putting 100% effort out because it's not their guy with the ball, right? It's somebody else. But on passing downs, they're putting in a ton of work because they're trying to make sure they keep their quarterback upright. So that's just what I've observed, just the way people are. So the hope, of course, saying that is that the Colts offensive line is active in both the run and pass. Because, like I said, if you can keep that core on the field and that offensive line's playing at a high level,
Yeah,
you don't have to run the ball to win. You just have to score points if you're not going to run the ball. Um, and often teams that can't run the ball can't throw it either. And that's one of the things that Anthony Richardson's kind of like a bottle of offense, is that, you know, he could run the ball. If he can carry you, let's say like a dozen carries for like 50, 60 yards. Hey, that's plenty. You can win with that, especially if he's doing it in short yardage situations when you got to have it and
yeah,
extending drives that other quarterbacks cannot do that. It's a short yard, 3rd and 4. They come out and match cover one or cover zero. It's cross the board man. And it's like, hey, how do you beat that? Run your quarterback, have those guys block their man.
hmm,
And that's why you draft that good of an athlete, is that you hope someone that worked that hard is also capable of understanding, oh, hey, look, it's 3rd and 4. We're on the, left hash. They're going to let me roll to my right. I'm a right-handed quarterback, so they let me roll to where I want to go. But they're going to drop back and sit on top of the receiver 6, 7 yards down the field. Okay, so how do we win there? We use our legs, and that's what he's for. So on the one hand, I'm like, all right, 5-point dog at home. There's like this little 3-point birdie in the back of my head that tells me like, if the home team's a dog, there's like this 3 points that's kind of built in,
yeah,
um, and that you assess the value of like home field advantage. So either the thought process then becomes, if you're a believer in the Colts, then you think that this is a nail biter and more or less a field goal game. And if you're reading it correctly, the Colts are actually more like an 8-point dog, and they're going to lose by more than a touchdown. But don't tell anyone, because then they'll stop watching us. We sit here and tell them the Colts are going to
yeah,
lose by more than a touchdown. But that's how you're supposed to read that, is if you're a home dog, you lose the points. And if you're the home favorite, you gain the point. I've actually learned some things in the off season. So yeah, the idea is if you're supposed to win at home, then you win by even more. And if you're slated to lose at home, you're actually supposed to lose by more. They're giving you 3 points, is the way you think about it. So yeah, if I don't write about betting anymore and I don't gamble on sports anymore, but it's like ingrained in sports culture, right? So like you could still talk about the fact that like
yeah,
the tons of people are going to bet money on this game. I'm just
yeah,
saying, I I want to sit here and talk about how like youth is often misunderstood, and the Colts have a ton of it. No players over 30 years old on the roster.
yeah. It's crazy.
Um, well, the only reason they haven't said that in years past is because they had older kickers and Philip Rivers. You know what I mean? Like, um, the thing that youth has is a sort of suddenness, um, that you sort of lose as you get older. I wouldn't call it like a first step or anything. Um, but again, I think that if you are running a sort of hurry up, and the defense isn't Jacksonville's strong suit, then you could get in a dogfight with somebody and you could actually win those games. You know what I mean? But if this feels like a normal football game, oh, it's a little back and forth. Oh, Colts are losing that game. But if it's a little faster paced, a little more back and forth, there's always a chance you could win that game, right? And then obviously, if the Colts are just sputtering and punting and Jacksonville's put in the fucking end zone, hey, it's gonna be a long afternoon. But that's where my head is kind of at. Like if you can keep pace with them, you can end up down three, ball in your hand, 4 minutes left, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, we have actual chance to win this game. And of course, that's where I want to see. That's where you need to see your quarterback getting you to, right? Um, I'm not stupid enough to sit here and create and write and not even write, but and have a podcast about a sports team and come out every week and be like, no, Colts are gonna win. Here's why. You know, that's hack work. The hard reality is that you have to find a way, right? And I think again, that starts with like spreading them out, speeding up your tempo to try to throw off defensive rotation, and having a plan, sticking to the plan, are ways you can. Because again, I think if I have to think about how is Jacksonville any good, they've got a lot of offensive firepower. They have many people on their offense that are it's like one touch score touchdown type players, and they have their running back and run game. So yeah, definitely going to be a season like we have these kind of conversations every week. Man, came up
Yeah.
short last week. We were in a position to win. You down anytime you're down less than a touchdown and you have the ball and there's like less than 6 minutes left in the game. Hey, we should probably win. We should win here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
but at least, I'm thinking, it's gonna be a fun year. And
yeah,
we're gonna be excited about what we're seeing. I don't think we're gonna be too, pessimistic, saying like, "Hey, we should be winning. Like we are supposed to be winning these games, and we
nope,
aren't." I think it's going
nope.
to be more like, "Hey, we probably shouldn't be winning, but we are
Mm-mm,
competing." Anthony Richardson's looking great. The young guys are looking great. Young guys are getting playing time, and we're gonna be, "Hey, we lost, but it's not like it's the end of the world or anything. Not like we're supposed to be winning or on championship window." So yeah, actually, I can't wait. It's great having football back, having,
oh my
I want
gosh.
to take just a minute to say, hey, I'm not sure it's gonna be a winning year, but it's surely gonna be entertaining, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
all for it. I'm, you know, can't wait for next Sunday. It's so good to be back. Just
Absolutely.
feels so right. That thing, like you're just saying, yeah, man, finally, like this past 6 months have been,
Hmm.
boring as hell.
Yeah, and I mean, yesterday I had football on two screens. There's another college football game tonight. Quarterback development is like a super hot topic, and there was like another list of another dozen quarterback prospects for this upcoming year, and that made me even happier as a Colts fan. Like we already got our guy. There's a whole bunch of teams going to be trying to reload at
Yeah,
quarterback, and the Colts don't have to do that. Or don't have to touch that market at all. We got a 10.0, 10.0. Show me another 10.0 on that list. They're in a better total quarterback prospect, an athletic prospect at that position. Now, are there guys that are better quarterbacks?
yeah,
Yes. I could think of like two off the top of my head that are, oh yeah, well, he's a better quarterback than Anthony Richardson right now. He's in college, right? I'm thinking about Caleb Williams, right? He's got a ton of quarterback talent. Here's the problem and how that doesn't necessarily translate. His game is heavily reliant on being able to escape a pass rush and make a play outside the hash. The problem in the NFL is that guy's a better athlete. He's bigger too. And so it's like, while that's working for him right now and he's being productive and known for that right now, does that translate to the NFL? I don't know. I didn't say it does, it doesn't. I'm just saying, like, he's getting away from people now and
yeah,
getting a flick off, and you're like, wow, what a toss. And all I'm saying is this he's not get dragged down from behind by somebody that's much better athlete than this kid at the next level. Um, and it still makes me excited as a Colts fan because you're like, everybody else is having to really work on these prospects and do a lot of homework on all these players that your Rattlers, your Bo Nixes,
Yeah.
right? Like there's tons of talent in this class. And it's like, hey, you don't even have to worry about that if you're the Colts. You just get to get better everywhere else, presumably secondary and offensive line, right? For the next year. So I'm even looking forward to that. So you were talking about like the last like 6 months have been boring. Hell no. It's just we don't have that connection to a team. So you can't like you're not there every day seeing them get
Yeah,
better in
yeah,
practice and stuff, seeing what they're hiding from the public when they play these preseason games where they're just running a base offense, trying not to give anything away or get anyone hurt. You know what I mean? Like it's a televised scrimmage, is what I heard someone else say the other day, that these preseason games are basically televised scrimmages. They're doing everything but holding the other guy up. You know what I mean? If it was your own teammate, you'd just keep him from going to the ground. In
yeah,
preseason, they help him to the ground. You know what I mean? Like it's just on the other side of that coin. But yeah, uh, I'm just excited for the games to count and mean something and kind of get underway, right? Where
yeah,
you get a sense that the boat's in the water now. They know turning back now.
yeah.
Um,
It's
and like I
football that
said,
matters.
yeah, the only thing that the only question I'll have throughout the season is Chris Ballard going to sit his hands the whole season and not make any moves? You know what I mean? And just kind of let it ride. You know what I mean? It's rookie quarterback, first year head coach. Just give everybody 17 games. You know what I mean? Like I still want to see moving and shaking. You know what I mean? Like I still want to see us thinking about winning. I mean, you're gonna have injuries anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
It's bound to
Injuries are
happen.
part of the game. I just I don't know. Is it too early to say it? Like I don't want to sit here and wonder about line depth or what are we gonna do at running back. You know what I mean? Like if we had either of those things kind of solved in the short term, I'd be a lot more
Yeah,
optimistic.
yeah,
I'd be like, dude, Jonathan Taylor's been practicing for more than a week now. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I think about it. Is like I want to give the team that I root for and have created content for years to like overcome the odds. But I'm also like a realist and like there's just an awful lot of good things going on for Jacksonville coming off a division, like winning the division, right? That I think that they might still be on their upward
yeah.
trajectory.
Yeah,
You
yeah. They
know,
might have an extra year in them. Yeah, I believe that as well.
the Colts are sort of starting at the bottom again, right? Ranked 30th in like every power ranking that I've
Yeah,
seen. I don't think that about them. I'm not looking at the Colts like, oh, they're like terrible. It's one of the worst rosters in football. You don't ever know that. You don't know that until games are played. You can make a lot of presumptions about what you see, but a lot of these players are young and you're gonna want to see. And it ain't just like the thing about it is everybody just keeps saying like as long as the quarterback grows, and it's like no, as long as you gain players off this. You know what I mean? Like, oh, look, this guy's an every down corner. Haha, Brents. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gaining people that you're like, oh,
yeah,
we don't have to
yeah.
draft
That
to
can be.
replace you
Yeah,
immediately. Oh, that's good. Or let's think about Granson. Is he a combo wide receiver tight end? Is that what they're doing with him?
yeah. I believe. Yeah, he could do that. Granson or the other guy, Ogletree. Ogletree
Yeah,
is.
Ogletree. So if those guys show a great deal of development, that will change how I feel week to week. But yeah, I always make sure I set people up for realistic expectation. I'm not gonna sit on here and
Yeah,
lie to you. Um, but yeah, on that note, as we kind of get into it here, um, we kind of chewed up about as much as I could really talk about. Like I said, here we are a week away. Colts are at home, 1 p.m. against a division foe. They're expected to lose. They're expected to lose a lot of these
yeah,
games. We're just looking at them to keep them close and see some development. And like I was kind of saying here at the end, I just want to feel good about other people.
yeah.
Is that weird to say? Like I want
No,
to
yeah, it
watch
makes
someone
sense.
and
You
be
want to,
like,
yeah,
that guy's gonna stick in the league. You know what I mean? Like he's not gonna be a guy that's on his third or fourth team by the time he's been in the league 5 years. You know what I mean? Because there's definitely been years where you watch a player and you're like, not the
yeah,
guy,
he's not,
but he's
yeah,
a guy. You know what I mean? Like he's not him, but he'll do whatever. And then years later you're finding out dude's still in the league. Like, oh, he's still in the league. All right, good for him, man. But yeah, beyond that, this podcast is sort of unique. Not only is one of us in Indianapolis, Indiana, the other
Hmm.
in Argentina, which is like super interesting to me. But we also talk about the Indiana Pacers, who are in their off season right now. So what's actually going on is Pacer players are playing for their national teams in the FIBA World Cup. Notably, the U.S. lost today against Lithuania. That was a team full of grown men, by the way.
Yeah,
That was a team of big boys. Um, Lost today. Halliburton did his thing. Edwards has emerged, um, and I think that it's better. It's good for the league, right? That one of the best players in the NBA is not on a coastal team. You know what I mean? Um, and we'll see if that helps that franchise at all. But there's Pacer players all over these teams. It's not just Halliburton for the U.S. But yeah, that you've got sort of basketball sort of going on, right? Lots of other things are being done in the silence that you'll never see. But yeah, that pretty much sums up what's going on with the Pacers, right? Not
yeah, no,
a lot to
yeah,
talk about. I did see like tickets are starting to get pushed out for the Pacers and Colts. And um, if anybody watches this and knows a way that I could take my kids that I coach to Colts games, that'd be great. Or Pacers games, that'd be great. Because I work with inner city kids that have nothing and have no expectation of ever getting anything. And I'd like to take them to a Colts game or Pacers game. That'd be nice.
yeah,
But yeah, we just got out of our Stampede Blue staff fantasy football draft.
yeah,
And then you've got one with your friends. It's now a dynasty league. That's super neat,
yeah. It's
huh?
some plans to be like a mix, like a half dynasty, half, standard league. I never played
Yeah.
dynasty, but yeah, another thing. I believe we both really like fantasy football. I
Hmm.
think it gives, it's a really fun. Like we don't have that here with soccer or with with anything. We
Hmm.
don't have anything like it.
Hmm.
And I think it's an amazing way to, make every single game entertaining. Like you're
Oh yeah.
watching, I don't know, you're watching Sunday night and you're like, hey, I have that player. So now suddenly, you're rooting for something to happen. And that's all that's more entertainment. So
Right.
I'm really high, I just thought that I should say I drafted B. John Robinson at 4, and I think he's gonna, he's gonna be a great guy, hopefully, because
I was
perhaps.
I decided to also stream on YouTube, so I was just live on YouTube. Old Man Drafts Fantasy Football is what I titled it. Where I just sat and showed the tools that I use outside of like ESPN's draft tool to help me. And I believe I was talking about you like, oh wow, somebody really has a bunch of faith in Bijan Robinson. Like, hey, you know
Yeah,
what?
I
When
was
you've
the
got
one
the
that
soul
drafted him.
read on somebody, hey, you got the soul read. That's just what we call it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I love fantasy football. I was really excited this year. My wife said she wanted to play fantasy football again. I'm not saying that's why I married her. But but so she's in our staff league because we tried to put together a league of people outside of work, outside of, staff, and it didn't never come together. But yeah, I love fantasy football to have of course, my wife involved, and then my colleagues and the guy I host my podcast with is in the same league. That's super cool.
Yeah, it makes it even
Um,
better. It's gonna be,
yeah.
yeah, just
So it
all
didn't need
around.
it didn't need to be for money when there's just like
Yeah.
the joy is in that, like you're in a league with your people you care about. You know what I mean? I'd rather do that
Yeah, it's
anyway.
bragging rights. You play for bragging rights. I believe
Playing
it
for
was.
bragging rights. Well, I mean, it's one of the big things that I've decided now that I've become a coach, there's sort of this ethical line, right, where it's like, hey, if we're going to coach and our intentions to coach NFL football, right? I don't want to be in my coaching career still gambling on football. That seems pretty
Yeah.
loose, given that they'll just suspend a dude for a year for gambling. I want to make sure that I'm saying like I'm not betting money on games or even in fantasy football or even daily fantasy anymore. Like you said, we're just playing for pride at this point. Just playing for bragging rights over people we care about. And that'll actually pay a lot closer attention to than if it were worth money. Because so often about money, it's about time. And if it's about money and then it becomes about time, we all know we ain't enough hours in the day. I think that's like a losing proposition anyway. So I'm actually okay with just drafting with friends, and my wife's in a league too. She was at a Labor Day party and got out of the pool to go sit in the shade and draft, and even had well a little 15-year-old my niece's boyfriend help her do the draft. You know what I mean? So hey, that's super sweet, I think. You know what I mean? And if there were money involved, you wouldn't even never have allowed that to happen,
Yeah, nah.
right?
Nah, nah, nah.
That makes it all the sweeter. It's like better vibes for sure.
I'm not sure whether it was Stephen Reed or Andrew Assis that won, our past last year fantasy leagues, but whoever it was, either one of them, let's just give a shout out to them.
Hmm.
Just set the record straight. So yeah, the guys to beat are either, I don't recall correctly.
Oh, the
Uh,
guys to beat like from last year.
yeah, I believe it was Stephen Reed who won last year, but I don't remember, exactly whether it was him or Andrew Assis.
This is our
I'm
fifth
between those
year.
two. Yeah.
Okay, so I can actually look it up. Last year, Greg Rader won.
Oh, so it was Greg. Damn,
Stephen
my
Reed got
memory is
runner
wrong.
up. Well, let's see the trophy champion. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, okay. Greg is the guy to be, and Greg is also the guy. If I recall, this one I recall correctly, Greg is the guy who got the highest win correct percentage in our tally side weekly picks. Greg
Hmm.
was the one that got the highest percentage. So yeah, kudos to you, Greg. You're clearly the one that knows football most. You won the fantasy league and you predicted better than anyone. So kudos, hats off to our very young Greg Raider.
Yep. Won our league from last year. Well, hey, it's hot outside. Dogs are crying to get out. So hey, let's wrap this thing up and say, hey, you got about a week left, everybody, before it's here. And it's basically on TV like 5, 6 nights a week. So football is officially, I mean,
Yeah,
in my eyes, it was like last week it was here, like 10 days ago, Thursday night it was here. But for everybody else that doesn't start football till after Labor Day, yeah, you're right. You got like 4 days. So yeah, have a great rest of your week.
yeah.
Uh,
Have a happy Labor Day. Do you say that? Like enjoy your long weekend.
yeah, yep.
Oh yeah, enjoy your Monday off. At least have a good one.
And we'll see you after next week's game,
Yeah,
everybody.
we'll see you after next week.